It was wild to fly into Aizawl. You know, it's kind of a military airport. There was an overturned plane on the runway, and you go through the extra, double visa process, and you're in the car for a long way, and then you see all these beautiful houses and structures on the mountain, and it's just another world. And in the Northeast, it's very different. The food is different. The people are. It's a different vibe entirely. One of our best attended shows was in Aizawl. Everyone in the crowd was singing a song called Brooklyn of ours, and we just thought, this is so wild to be so far away from Brooklyn singing this song.
How did you do with the food in your India trip the last time around? Yeah.
Oh, it's a very, very special place. I don't think I realized how different it was region to region, but the food. I mean, I've been a fan of Indian food my whole life, especially Indian hip hop. I really like. It's really good and it's really performative.
All right, we're leading up to Lollapalooza India 2026. We're very excited. It's the fourth edition in Mumbai City. And one of the bands that are coming down is The Midnight. Tim and Tyler's music is really popular in India. And if you go through the streaming charts, they're right up there with all the big guys. I'm very pleased to welcome Tyler Lyle here. Hi, Tyler. Wonderful to talk to you. How are you?
Very nice to speak with you, Rishi. Doing great. How are you?
Excellent. Listen, can't wait for you guys to get here. So my logical first question is, what are you most excited to bring to the Indian audience? And any India first songs, visuals, or surprises that you planned?
Very, very new. Yes, we have three new band members, so it's a totally new live team. We were in India in 2024 for 5 shows. We played in Pune for a festival and Bangalore, and then in the Northeast for 3 shows. And we had an amazing time, and we have been trying to get back ever since. So we're very excited to play this Lollapalooza. But yeah, we'll have a new band, hopefully some new visuals, and unfortunately, it's not, a full set. It's a festival set, so it's a little bit shorter than our normal time. But it's going to be a really fun day, and we're excited to meet all the friends that we've made in India.
You know, Bangalore and Pune are great places to tour and play, but a lot of bands that come from both sides of the Atlantic, the UK as well as the US, say the Northeast is a whole different experience. Did you feel that? Did you feel that vibe in the Northeast when you went up?
It was wild to fly into Aizawl. You know, it's kind of a military airport. There was an overturned plane on the runway, and you go through the extra, double visa process, and you're in the car for a long way, and then you see all these beautiful houses and structures on the mountain, and it's just another world. Like in the U.S., there's nothing that looks like that that feels like that. And when you travel to India, you think, okay, it's majority Hindu, this is the food, this is the culture, and in the Northeast, it's very different. The food is different, the people are, it's a different vibe entirely. And I love it. We had a blast. We had one of our best attended shows was in Aizawl, in a little like dirt, like football kind of field. It was an amazing experience, something that I'll never forget. Everyone in the crowd was singing a song called Brooklyn of ours, and we just thought, this is so wild to be so far away from Brooklyn singing this song with all of these beautiful people.
The next time when you come and do a solo tour, you should also do Shillong, which is, yeah, very close to Aizawl. It's up in the
Yeah.
mountains and it's just lovely. The vibe is amazing.
We played Bloomfest in
Oh,
Shillong.
you did.
Yeah.
You're sounding like veterans of the Indian circuit already.
We also played in Dimapur as well at
Liverpool, yeah, wow, amazing.
yeah,
That's so
yeah,
good.
a lot of driving in the Northeast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Listen, your work often leads into nostalgia. I mean, I started listening to you guys 2016, 2017. You're already two years into your careers. And I said, wow, this is for us 90s boys, hark back to that whole synth pop wave. And in a strange way, over the years, it's also become very forward looking. A lot of the electronic music boys, the younger generation, turn around and say, whoa, the midnight. So do you think of your music more as a soundtrack now, as pop songs, or both? Has that changed since Days of Thunder to now?
Nostalgia has always been kind of the nail that we're trying to hammer. And I think that as we explore it, it gets bigger because it's not limited to a decade of music or to a synthesizer sound or to a drum sound. It's a whole expansive universe. And and I think that we're just having fun trying to marry, you know, these sounds that existed in the 80s, but now we have technology to make it sound better, to clean it up, to take, what was then new technology and make it sound current. A lot of new computers come installed with these software plugins of these old synthesizers. So a lot of people are rediscovering a love for the DX7 or the Jupiter 8 or the Juno 106, the gated snare drum. All of these are kind of reintroduced as ingredients in making popular music if you're a bedroom pop producer. So we think a lot of those people are listening as well. We're just grateful to have found that small section of the internet back in 2012 when nobody else was there.
I've heard of singer-songwriters writing about their favorite city. And that favorite city could be, in a lot of cases, New York, because lots of New York artists love writing about New York.
Mhm.
And some will write about Los Angeles. Rare to find a band that writes about two cities. There's a song on Los Angeles, there's a song on Brooklyn. And I love Brooklyn Love, especially
Yeah.
the video you built, the karaoke video. I could
Oh,
watch it
thank
a
you.
million times and still feel lovely. So talk to me about that. I mean, was it two separate guys, you and Tim, saying, okay, I'm going to do the Los Angeles one, and I'm going to do the Brooklyn one, or maybe just one of you? I don't know.
We wrote Los Angeles together about a month before I found out that I was going to leave Los Angeles. So Tim and I met each other living in Los Angeles. And then I moved to Brooklyn, which is a much harder city or borough of New York City, to live in than Los Angeles. So we were bi-coastal for a very long time. He was in Los Angeles until very recently, and I was in New York until COVID. So yeah, a lot of mythology around the West Coast and also New York. There are other cities with names that we haven't released yet, but we'll wait for the good time to release that.
That's interesting. A midnight song, how does it usually start, Tyler? I mean, is it a synth patch? Is it a guitar line? Or is it a lyric? Or can it be a bit of everything?
A midnight song usually starts in the editing process. So I'm a songwriter of my own right. I usually start with an acoustic guitar
Hmm.
and some words. I'm lyrics first. Tim is a producer, and so it takes him a long time to polish something that he feels like is a final vision. But I just throw things at the wall. So usually when Tim and I get together, I've done some prep work, and he will offer a loop, an 8-bar loop of something that sounds interesting in our world, and I will kind of pull from my universe of songwriting and see what fits. Just throw things against the wall, and when it fits, when it hits, has some friction, we feel it. And that's usually when a midnight song begins, usually at not the stage one, but stage one and a half. When something feels right, we try and follow it. And we prefer to be in the room together when we do that. So, yeah, so we're just storing up songs and ideas until we meet again.
The motto for all of us midnight fans, mono nowhere, is
Mhm.
something we're all aware of. But I'd like to hear it from your mouth. How does that sensibility show up in your lyrics? How does it show up in your arrangements? Mono nowhere.
Yeah. Um, a French author that I like, Marcel Proust, says there is no truth to be found on earth except the truth of re-entering a room that you haven't been in a long time.
Wow.
And I think that there's something beautiful in spaces, being able to compare who you are now versus who you were. The phrase "mono no aware" was found in a a magazine article that I was reading at the time when we were looking for a name, and it talked about the autumn flowering. As you get older, if you have kids, the author of this magazine article was calling it the autumn flowering. And I just loved this image so much because there's something autumnal and nostalgic and poignant about looking back after time has passed. And when we were in the studio, that's what I wanted to write about. I'd been a singer-songwriter in the kind of acoustic folk world for a long time. I'd written a lot of confessional songs, and I was tired of myself. I just wanted to write images about time passing, and that's how the Midnight got started.
I love your vocal delivery, Tyler. I can't get enough of it. I mean, what fascinates me is it sometimes sits between anthemic and plaintive. I wonder how you decide when you got to push a melody towards intimacy or, push it towards like a stadium sing along kind of thing.
Well, sometimes we get it wrong. I feel like Tim and I, during the pandemic, during lockdown, we were thinking, okay, we're going to write this album that became Heroes, and we're going to sing it to these big crowds, and it's going to be a big synth rock live experience. And it turns out that what most of our fans actually wanted is something a little more intimate, a little more contemplative and solemn, and that's actually what we like to do as well. So we're just trying things. It's all an experiment, and sometimes it works better, and sometimes it doesn't work as well. So we don't know. We're just trying things that make us feel happy and inspired.
That's a lovely answer. Is there a vocal take that you kept because it just felt true? I mean, you listen to it and you say, "Hey, man, this is imperfect," but you just keep it because of the feeling.
Yeah, I think actually the vocal recording on the track Brooklyn was one of
Ah,
those that was just fragile and imperfect, but it felt right, which is most of what is compelling about good music is that it feels humid. It's still got the noise, it's still got the imperfections, and I think that as you know, software and AI are able to make things sound more clean, more perfect, more signal, less noise. I think we as humans will naturally gravitate to what is more imperfect and more human and noisier. Yeah.
I'm going to lead you into a couple of my other favorite midnight songs. I love Sunset and I love Summer's Ending Soon.
Mm.
And in a strange way, the sun setting and the summer ending are, I don't know, similar themes. Were you thinking of them as similar themes or they're very different? I mean, what's in a songwriter's head, a fan can never tell.
Yeah, Sunset was on a record called Endless Summer, and in Endless Summer, we present the dream of nostalgia, of returning to that time. And because it is in your mind, it is in your memory, it can never fade. It's forever in bloom. Um, but with the newest record, with Syndicate, Tim and I both had gone through some personal trials, and I really wanted to remind myself as we remind the audience that even the endless summer ends. You can't stay locked in the dream forever. At some point, you have to return to your life as it is and inhabit the place that you're in, where your feet are planted right now. So even the endless summer ends, and that was conscious. Summer is ending soon is a statement about sort of getting your house in order, making sure that you're prepared for what comes next and that you're, most importantly present in the moment. So yes, the dream of nostalgia, but also the reminder of being in the present now. Those are certainly two tensions that we like to pull at.
I love when the saxophone kicks in a midnight track. It just sounds so groovy. Um, and indeed, your production blends synth pads, gated snares, sax, guitar. What's a non-negotiable in a midnight arrangement? Something you can't do without.
Tim McEwen's production. Uh, Tim is a Danish producer. He's about 5 years older than I am, and we met in Los Angeles. And he just has such a different style taste than I do. He comes from
Yeah, I mean,
such.
Europeans and Americans in any case are very different. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Yes. Um, he is very measured, very focused, methodical, and his methods are his own. I really can't speak to it. If he's stuck on something, he will ask my opinion. But often it a midnight track becomes a midnight track through Tim's dark night of the soul as he's sort of hitting his head against the wall and going, how can I make this something? I'm just writing words and singing them.
There are so many uh, collaborations you've had. For example, I love the vocalist on Jason. It's such
Yeah.
it's a simple song. It's beautiful. It's got a lovely vocal. Um, Talk to me about that. Talk to me about interesting collaborations.
Yeah.
Collaborations which really shifted your thinking about arrangements, about sound, or is that again a decision that Tim predominantly makes?
Jason came from a session with Nikki Flores.
Hmm.
I was coming from another writing session, and I arrived in a studio in North Hollywood, and Tim and Nikki had already written the first verse and the chorus of that song, and I just wrote the second, and I thought, okay, well that's fun. Um, in the early days, it was it was really just a co-write anyway. Tim and I just thought, well, we like working together. We don't know what this project really is. It has kind of an 80s feel to it. And we'll just keep writing with other people and writing with each other and see what it turns into. As the Midnight has taken on an identity of its own, it's kind of clarified what it is. Um, we really just kind of want to serve what we've already made and also push at the edges a little bit. So with somebody like Bonnie McKee, who came in for Runaways, Bonnie is a songwriter that we've known for a long time. She wrote, of course, a lot of Katy Perry's pop songs and Britney Spears, and she's one of the preeminent pop songwriters in America today. And we just selfishly wanted to work with her. And we had a great time with that and invited her to a couple shows in Europe this fall. But really, it's about expanding the story. And Tim and I love each other deeply, but we also know what we have to offer. And sometimes it's fun to throw somebody else's creative strengths in the mix as well. And you often come out with something more interesting as a byproduct.
The band has been open about Tim stepping back from touring to focus more on production. My question is, has that really changed or affected the band's creative center, Tyler?
It's made us much more productive in terms of recorded music. Yeah, until, gosh, probably Monsters or Heroes, we've only released the songs that we've written. Syndicate allowed us, I think we wrote something like 50 or 60 songs for this record, and that takes a lot of time. It's easy and quick for me to write songs. It's very slow and meticulous for Tim to kind of hone his production. So um, he doesn't tour well. He gets it's hard for him to sleep. He has tinnitus that becomes degenerative, so he can't play the instrument that he would want to play on stage. Um, and to be able to extend the life out of this project and to give it really all that we have. I was a performer before I stepped in the studio with Tim. I've played all over the world as a singer-songwriter. Tim has always been the producer and was never really comfortable in that role. So for us to split duties, we think that we're getting more done. I think that that's the answer, is that our music gets better, hopefully, and we're able to release more of it, do more collaborations, do more partnerships with games and scoring and this sort of thing. So Tim is doing more remixes, and I think more of the Midnight gets to exist because of this arrangement. But Tim is he was in my studio a few weeks ago planning the creative direction for the next tour. So he's still intimately involved in the set list and the images on the screen and how the lasers look and the color palette and all of that. So Tim will never be truly gone from the live show, but he is working harder at the recorded part. Yeah.
That's lovely. The live album release happened in 2023, Tyler, and I I I've seen the video which you guys have on Apple Music, which is a video filmed in a Phoenix, Arizona gig, which is absolutely fantastic. I love the vibe and the mood, lighting, and everything. What's the essence of a midnight live show you want festival crowds to feel?
Well, you want to do two things. You want the people that showed up to see you to walk away happy, but you also want people who have no idea or maybe have seen your logo somewhere, to hear a saxophone and wander over, and for them to be pleasantly surprised as well. You want to serve the fan, but you also want to bring everyone to the table. It's difficult to travel internationally. It's expensive. We do this to make the story bigger. But ultimately, we would like to come back to India and play more shows and have more fans arrive. So the goal for that is to please as many people as possible, especially the fans.
So I mentioned a Phoenix gig. You've mentioned a couple of India gigs, Aizawl, Shillong. Is there a gig, a midnight concert, a performance that still brings back great memories? The best of them all.
Live music is one of those magical things. I don't know very many aspects of humanity that get us to the core of the feeling that playing in Manchester, England for the first time, or we've had an amazing show in San Francisco, Los Angeles. I mean, the Aizawl is a show that will live in my memory forever. It was a wild night, but um, we sing in Los Angeles kind of about this invisible world that just exists on the other side of this one. And in these rare shining moments, you can kind of peek through the veil in a way and see something a little bit closer to the source, something a little more mysterious. So yes, I love performing live for the potential of having these moments, and they don't come all the time, but when they do come, they're really, really special, and they keep gas in the tank to keep you motivated and going, because touring is not the most easy thing to do.
Talk to me about Memories, another one of my favorite midnight songs. I mean, the title says it all in a way, but would that be one of your personal favorites too? I wonder.
I love that song. That song was written right around the time, gosh, 2016. Yeah, right before we played our first shows in 2017. Um, that one came very quickly. That one felt like a gift from somewhere else. I don't know what I was thinking about when Tim and I wrote it, but it happened very quickly. I think Tim's initial loop was pretty similar to what made the record, and the song was written very quickly, which can go one of two ways. And thankfully that one felt like it had a little bit of mystery and a little bit of magic on it. It's one that I still look back on with a lot of gratitude.
And Lost Boy, tell me about that.
Wow. That came from a very early session with Tim. The verses were written um, in the dark. There are no strangers was kind of the chorus refrain, and we were happy with the song. Uh, we were writing on a track from a Finnish producer named Lino, and it never felt cohesive. And Tim, as he does, hit his head against the wall enough times to where he thought, uh, I'm going to make a vocal chop, and the song's going to be called Lost Boy. And we're going to take what's here and we're going to rearrange it in such a way that it kind of flows differently. Um, as you say, we use old sounds, but sometimes modern production. And I think the vocal chops are Tim's way of kind of pushing the sound forward a little bit. So Lost Boy was one of those experiments that Tim was just compelled to finish and really struggle and churn through the process until he felt like it was done. So yeah, that was a credit to Tim McEwen's ADHD or whatever he has.
And there are the regular albums, and like you said, then the remix album comes out. Is there a song that you really feel, oh wow, the remixed version is so cool? Have you gone open mouthed at one particular one saying, I could never imagine this, that this song could be this now?
The Prof remix of Days of Thunder was so impressive to us that we started playing Days of Thunder as the remix
The
live on
remix.
stage. Yeah, it's great fun. We signed to Ultra in part to um, get a little deeper into the dance music community. We've always kind of lived on the bubble between the worlds of pop and indie and electronic. But with the remixed records, it's so fun to listen to other people's worlds, and they've just taken a small souvenir of yours and put it into their own world. I love electronic music for that window into the creative process.
Oh, Days of Thunder. I love the original and that particular version. It's just wonderful. What were you listening to when you were growing up?
Tim's answer is much more interesting than mine. Tim would say Phil Collins and Bruce Springsteen. I grew up in the American South. I was listening to country music. I was listening to
Oh,
the Eagles and a lot of artists that probably didn't make their way very deep into Indian culture.
now, tell me, is it Garth Brooks, Dan Seals? I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Look at you. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I grew up listening to Garth Brooks, and honestly, I feel like part of my job with the Midnight is to steer it into pop country. Tim is always going to bring it into the '80s Midnight world sonically, but as a songwriter, I want to write these sort of big, ambitious songs that appeal to everyone. Everyone can come in with if they're thinking too hard about lyrics, they can enjoy it. If they're not thinking hard enough about lyrics, they can enjoy it. And that's how I feel. Garth Brooks, Alabama, Brooks and Dunn, Joe Diffie, all of the '80s and '90s country that I grew up with. Yeah,
You'd be
that's what I was.
surprised that my dad's generation in India would play their children Kenny Rogers. Is the OG, the original.
You got to know when to hold them. Yeah, Kenny's the
Yeah.
best. Yeah, he's an amazing songwriter.
Yeah, that's lovely. How did you do with the food in your India trip the last time around? Yeah.
Oh, it's a very, very special place. I don't think I realized how different it was region to region, but the food. I mean, I've been a fan of Indian food my whole life. It's the music, the tablas, the whole thing. Yeah, I had the best Indian food I've ever had in India, and I cannot wait to stuff myself again in a few weeks.
Did they play you some local artists? Did you manage to listen to some local artists when you were here?
Yeah, yeah, I wandered around a lot. Yeah, I found cafes and I heard some local music.
Lovely.
Um, and I'm always on the lookout for international music, things to put in my Spotify playlists. So yeah, I'm especially Indian hip hop. I really like it's really good and it's really performative, and I think that there's something. I don't know. You guys have something good in the water. I wrote a song recently called Pondicherry about
Oh,
a
I love
Brooklyn waitress
Pondicherry.
who needs to change her life, so she moves to Pondicherry. Um, so yeah, the food and the culture and Bollywood a little bit, um, but yeah, I I love what you guys are doing over there.
My last question is about who you're going to watch before or after your set. I mean, there's Linkin Park, Kelani, Playboy Carti, lots of great acts in there.
Yeah, I haven't decided. Gosh, it's gonna be really fun though. Who are you looking forward to listening to?
Linkin Park, I mean, whatever said and done, there's been so much debate of them post Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
but I think the lady is just a powerhouse, and I can't wait to
She's so
see her.
good,
She's
right?
amazing.
Man.
She's so good.
Yeah, I'd like to see them live.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Listen, Tyler, can't wait for the midnight to take the Lollapalooza 2026 stage. I'm going to make sure I'm in the nosebleed section screaming away. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Rishi, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
One world, your station.